I love me a good basket. Ever since my days at Pioneer Village, I've always looked at baskets when I'm at a thrift store or an antique mall, flea market, yard sale. Baskets are the historic version of Tupperware or plastic totes or cardboard boxes. They were used for transporting, for storing. They're practical things, but they are so beautiful, especially when they're handmade. And I love using baskets whenever possible, here in Rhode Island in the barn, but also at home in New York. I have a laundry basket that I put my dirty clothes in. I cart that down to the laundry room to do my laundry. I have a little basket that I put my knitting supplies in. Anywhere where I could fit a basket into my everyday, I do it. So the thing about vintage baskets or old baskets is often when you find them, they are dirty. Sometimes they're really dirty, especially if they've been stored in like a garage or a barn for 50 years. They're often covered in dust and grime, sometimes mold. But whenever I bring a basket into my life, I clean it. And it's very simple to do. If you have access to an outdoor space like this, then it's the ideal thing to do this in a yard, on the lawn. Do this on a day when it's not humid. Do it on a dry day, a breezy dry day if possible. And you wash the basket, and then you actually don't put it out in the sun to dry, which could actually damage the basket because it's wet. It could cause it to shrink too quickly, and for the natural fiber that was used to weave the basket, if it shrinks too quickly, it could crack and damage the basket. So put it in the shade to be dried. And I'm going to show you what I do. I need some gloves. Where are my gloves? I had them here. Oh, here they are. Production assistant is going to be fired. Misplacing my gloves. I'm the production assistant. Okay, so what I do is I get some water and I add Murphy's oil soap to the water. Just a little bit. Ein Schluck. Mix that up. And then I use a bristle brush, like a natural bristle brush. Something that you would use even to scrub the floor. Works fine. Something that has a lot of, that's large, because, and that's the natural bristle is great because it gets into all the grooves and the crevices. And then what I do is, I'm going to actually show you on a wicker basket, although I use this method on any type of basket, like even these split oak baskets. I think they're split oak. I would do the same thing on these, but on a wicker basket like this, what I do is soak my brush and then scrub. And do the outside and the inside. I do the outside first so that when I do the inside, the water from the inside sort of comes through the basket and drips. You can see it dripping out. I feel like that's like a more strategic way to do this, to allow the dirt to fall away when you do the inside after the outside. I don't just do this to baskets that I find that are old and coming into my life, but I do this regularly to the baskets that I own. Every couple of years, sometimes they just get grimy, especially in the barn here. Like this basket over here, this split oak basket, It has some clay on it, and I'm just going to give this a good scrub too. If the basket's really old and the material used to make the basket seems a little delicate, just be gentle when you're doing this. I'm going aggressively on this one because it's pretty strong. This is not an old basket, like it's not an antique basket, but I've done this before to delicate baskets and I do it gently. If it's a tiny basket, I mean, you can use a toothbrush too. Okay, I'm going to do the inside. If the basket's really, really dirty, you might have to do this a few times. And when I've done this to really filthy baskets, I look at my soapy water to gauge how dirty it is. And I just continue to do it until my soapy water isn't really being discolored. There, that looks great. And just do the handle. And now I do a rinse. So just with some clean water, plain water, nothing in it, I rinse off the basket. Once the basket is dry, you can oil it to really sort of seal the wicker and to make it look really rich and healthy. And I do have a video on my channel about caring for wicker, or reviving wicker, I should say. Check that out if you want to see the next step of what I would do after the basket is clean. So this looks great. I just love baskets. They're so practical, but they're so beautiful, and they can completely transform a chore like laundry. You know, you have a plastic laundry bin that you carry your clothes around it in, and it's functional, it does the job, but if that same laundry bin is a hand-woven wicker basket, let me tell you that the task of laundry really does change and turn into something else. It's not only looking at the beautiful wicker basket, but you're holding it, you're carrying something that someone wove by hand. And the third aspect of interacting with wicker is that it makes a sound, especially a laundry basket that's full of clothes. As it's moving, the pieces of wicker that are actually moving against each other or rubbing against each other, it makes a sound. And that's something that I'm conscious of when I'm thinking about the reasons that I make an effort to bring these things into my life. It's not just the sight of them or the history, but it's the other sensory things that they bring into your life. Sometimes smell, but sound as well. I'm going to do this one too. This one looks a little, it looks like something has been growing on the wicker, like mold. Nice and clean. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to find a shady spot I'm going to turn them over like this and put them in the shade to dry. Cleaning baskets, cleaning old baskets. You find something you like? Don't dismiss it if it's dirty, covered in dust and grime. You can really bring a basket back to life and make it look extremely beautiful by washing it and then oiling it. Try it yourself.